Visits. This story was sent to us by one of our listeners. It's something that he experienced when he was in his youth. The paranormal is not limited in location to a cemetery, a creepy old house, or an abandoned asylum. It can happen in a regular California neighborhood. If something wants to contact you or get your attention, it will do it wherever you are. Maybe you have to be sensitive to these things, maybe it's an environmental condition, or maybe it's just chance. Let's begin our story. When I was a freshman in high school in 1994, my grandmother who lived with us was diagnosed with cancer and put on hospice care. As her disease progressed, she would mention talking to people who had been dead. When we would ask her when and where, she would say just a few minutes ago and point to her door. To make things stranger, there were cold spots or trails that would lead to her doorway. We wouldn't make anything of it and figured they were just breezes coming from the front door. One day we had a visitor who said they had an urge to knock on our door. The reason for this urge was that they had sensed a spiritual freeway. We had laughed at the comment and were asked if we had noticed any cold spots, specifically to a single room in the home. They had let us know not to be afraid and that our home was being visited by many spirits who were interested in the goings-on in our home. One June evening, the cold spots seemed to get more intense. My grandmother had been having conversations off and on with no one, even looking through us as we would tend to her care. The next morning, we found she had passed. What was especially disturbing to me was her arms locked into a position of struggle, as if she was shielding herself from something. The cold spots would end that morning. Fast forward a couple years, and my father would pass away. After his passing, we would get phone calls to our home with no one on the other end except static. This would continue and include messages on our answering machine of more of the same. One day, without ringing, beeping, hearing a greeting or message, our answering machine light began to flash. When we played the message, it was much louder than any other. I had mentioned this odd experience to a friend, and he asked if he could record the message. He brought over a 4-track cassette recorder and a microphone. We recorded the message on a brand new cassette, and when played back with extra volume, we could hear growling and snarling. We then played the message backwards, and sounding more clearly, we heard barks and 2 distinct voices. One was deep and cursing, the second sounded like a child reciting the Lord's Prayer. With all logic not fitting what happened, I'm left to believe that our family and our home were visited by something we cannot explain. Thank you for listening to today's story. Please don't forget to share, subscribe, and hit the like button. For notifications of new videos, you can hit the bell icon on the top right corner or subscribe on Twitter or Instagram. If you would like to contribute your own encounter or story, please contact me at the email below. Thank you, and keep an open mind, for there are things out there that are yet to be understood.